Hello and welcome to Anxious at Bedtime.
Thank you for joining us. We are your co-hosts. My name is Monica.
I'm Cash,
And I am Nova.
and we apologize for the delay in releasing this episode and also in recording this one. We've had some technical difficulties at this point.
And some family issues came up, which is why it's a few days late. But thank you for still joining us and having patience with us. We love you, Mom.
Absolutely. We appreciate all our fans. Our number one fan, Martha, thank you. I think you're our biggest listener, maybe our only one. Whether you actually listen and tune in, hear what we have to say, or if you're just playing us on silent in the background, the love is appreciated. Muchos gracias.
Shout out, Mama.
Woot woot, Martha.
Yeah, let's go, Martha. So today's episode, we got Nova telling us a story. She's got a fabulous story, and I'm anxious, like bedtime, anxious to see what it's about.
All right, so today's story, we will be talking about the man, the moth, the legend, the Mothman.
The man, the moth, the Mothman.
I'm so excited.
What the fuck is a Mothman?
The Mothman is a humanoid creature that is tall, brown-black in color, with red eyes and huge wings. First reported in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, from November 15th, 1966 to December 15th, 1967. There have been sightings in several other areas around the world since, though. On the night of November 15th, 1966, two couples were driving around when they came across this large, dark, winged creature with glowing red eyes. In a panic, they drove away quickly. However, the creature was still following them, flying above their car. They could hear the wings flapping with a screeching noise.
I'm not gonna lie, that kind of reminds me of that one movie, Jeepers
Jeepers
Creepers.
Yeah, I didn't
yeah.
even think about that. I see that.
So is Jeepers Creepers real? Is that guy a moth?
Oh my gosh, I hope not.
I'm sorry, we haven't even got to the story.
No, I was actually looking up that stuff, and they're surprisingly not related.
Really?
I would have thought that Jeepers Creepers was inspired by Mothman.
Yeah, me too. That's crazy. And
Or
it's
some people had seen a lot of Jeepers Creepers and they're like, hey, I saw the same thing, but it was a moth.
Maybe.
Right. But yeah, Jeepers Creepers was actually inspired by this man that was a murderer.
Oh.
The Mothman.
To be fair, the Mothman doesn't kill people.
See, we haven't even gotten to that part of the story. I just keep interrupting.
One of the witnesses, Linda Scarberry, described the creature as 7 feet tall and claimed its eyes had a hypnotic effect. Once they reached city limits, it stopped following them. After that initial encounter, more reports kept coming in from all over town.
That's weird.
Claiming to have seen the exact, or at least very similar, creature. Some people, such as Mason County Sheriff George Johnson and wildlife biologist Robert L. Smith, believed people were only seeing a large bird, more specifically, a sandhill crane. I personally don't buy that, though.
No.
Right?
I've never seen cranes in real life, but I don't think I'd get it mistaken with a man-like figure.
No, I've seen them on Kung Fu Panda, and it didn't look like a man.
Call back to an earlier episode. That's like comparing a chicken and a dinosaur, dog. I don't see a T-Rex and a chicken.
It's fair.
Yeah, I looked up pictures of the crane bird, too, because, the biologist was saying that, they can get pretty large, almost as tall as a man, but they look nothing like the creature they were describing.
I feel like there's a big difference between almost the size of a man and 7 feet.
For real.
7 foot could be a man. That's Shaquille O'Neal. Yeah, he's about 7 foot. There's a few of them out there. There's some kid that's 8 fucking foot tall over in Estonia or something. That kid's giant. I don't think he has wings though.
But another thing too is the red glowing eyes.
Yeah, that's fair. I didn't even think about that.
That kind of bird, it does have red around the eyes, but they're not these glowing red eyes like these people have claimed to see. On December 15th, 1967, tragedy struck when the Silver Bridge collapsed, taking the lives of 46 people with it. People then connected the Mothman sightings to the horrible event. Some people even claimed they saw him on the bridge moments before it collapsed.
Did the Mothman sighting stop after the collapse?
No. all over the world, there were other reports too, and always happening right before some big tragedy happened.
But in that town, because there were so many sightings within that town, did the sightings stop after the bridge collapse, or did it continue after the bridge collapse?
Yeah, so in that town, people stopped reporting sightings of him after the bridge collapsed,
Yeah, that's weird.
right?
So does he only come out? So you said it comes out like right before tragic events. So after the tragic events, does he just stop? Is he only appearing like right before tragic events in all these places all over the world, and then like kind of like a foreshadowing? Hey man, Mothman's here. Some shit's about to get wrecked, and then after he's like, "I'm out, dude. Swiggity swooty, get away from that booty."
That's what she just answered, yeah.
Yeah, so
Every location though.
Oh, that's fair.
um so yeah, like he'll be spotted at a certain area and then shortly after the tragedy will happen, but then no one sees him after that. That was actually another thing that I was going to talk about, was that like people at first with the bridge, they thought that he's the one that caused it. But after more sightings happened around the world, people were starting to think he was a sign of bad news, like a symbol that something bad was going to happen instead of him causing it.
Trying to warn them of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's better or worse.
Right?
Because instead of being scared of like this giant moth, is he trying to eat me? You're scared of this giant moth. What does he mean?
For real. From what I could find, he does not harm people ever. Um, there was that first sighting though where he spooked the crap out of those people, but he didn't try harming them in any way.
So he just flies around, kind of just scaring people, like, "Hey, what's up, dog?" and just getting a reaction. Then he's like, "Some shit's about to go down. I'm out though. Good luck."
Right?
Is it always a bridge collapse?
No. In 1978, a group of coal miners from Freiburg, Germany, were on their way to work. In the mine they were in, they saw something unexplainable. Lurking in the shadows was a man-like creature that fit the description of the Mothman to a T. Understandably startled, they all rushed to exit the mine. The creature didn't try following them. Once they were all out of the mine, it had collapsed right behind them.
That's good, at least that in that circumstance, him appearing was able to help save lives.
Yeah.
So it sounds like he might just be warning of situations. Like he's not a bad. So maybe he's like the Paul Revere of bad shit. Like the British are coming, the British are
Oh,
coming, rides
yeah.
around telling people so they can get the fuck out or fight against it. Kind of patriotic.
I just think it would be scary because could you imagine seeing him and then being like, oh, but what's going to happen? We can't stop it because we don't know what's about to happen.
That brings another question. So like, are these people reporting it, freaking out like, "Hey man, I saw this freaky thing in the fucking sky, guy looked like a moth," and they're freaking out over that? Or are people just getting caught up on the wrong thing? They're like, "Hey, by the way, I saw Mothman, so we knew some shit's about to get down." Like, were they giving a report like, "Hey, this is about to happen. We just saw this moth guy, like something tragic's about to happen"? Are the people who are taking the reports critiquing it more so going that they're seeing a being and that's what the concern is, as opposed to the people reporting that, they saw this being that signifies that there's a traumatic occurrence about to happen?
I feel like people are probably more freaked out about seeing the moth than trying to figure out what's about to happen.
For real, that'd be my first response too.
Yeah, if somebody came to me and they're like, "Hey, I saw a 7-foot flying Mothman, like the dude looked like a moth with red glowing eyes above my car. He followed me for 8 miles. So probably check your bridges and tunnels."
Yeah.
I'd be like, "The fuck the bridges and tunnels? What's this about a flying moth guy?"
Right?
Like, yeah, that'd be my concern too. But I mean, maybe these people are just being like, "Hey guy, I was driving through your town. This guy fucking flew over. I know what that means. Watch your bridges, watch your tunnels, lock your doors, get up high. There's a flood." Something. I don't know.
Baby, hopefully. At least hopefully by now, because it's been so many decades since that first initial bridge collapse. But I still feel like I would be more caught up on seeing Mothman than what might happen.
When was the last reported sighting of this guy?
So that one is actually interesting. I couldn't find like too many details on it, but a woman claimed to have seen him in 2022.
Oh wow, that's recent.
right? But yeah, I have like two more main ones that were reported like all over, but there were a lot of other ones that were popping up that didn't catch nearly as much traction, or were just like brushed to the side.
Okay.
8 years later, in 1986, numerous guards and researchers at a nuclear facility claimed to have seen the exact same creature. Many of them heard the creature shriek as it flew around the night sky close to the facility and guard towers. Some days later,
This better not be Chernobyl.
the nuclear plant erupted, one of the greatest disasters of our time. Yep, you guessed it, Chernobyl.
Oh
What?
shit. This is that. Hold on. This is a little bit more weird because
Yeah.
Monica has just been recently fucking obsessed with Chernobyl.
Yeah. I don't know if it's gonna be my next episode because I think my next one might be the graveyard we just went to. But before we went on the trip, I was thinking I want to do Chernobyl for my next episode, and so that's really weird that it lines up because I didn't tell you.
Yeah. You guys haven't talked about this at all, and she's been doing nothing but fucking talking about Chernobyl. Like even when we went to Mount Rushmore, when we went to the Crazy Horse Memorial, all of that stuff, she was talking about Chernobyl, like even how to pronounce it correctly because I don't do that. So she has to learn the phonetic enunciation of everything via the internet, other people, because I do not pronounce anything correctly.
That's so awesome.
Did you say enunciation?
Probably, I said I don't enunciate well, right?
Yeah. Why is there a G in it?
It's my twang.
But so there were like a good amount of guards up in their towers, and even some of like the researchers that worked there. All of them have claimed to see it like a few times, and like hearing him screech while he flew around and whatnot. Just days before the accident happened.
That's terrifying. But that one is the most like I don't want to say believable, but the one that makes me feel like that shit's real. Like Mothman is out there warning people of stuff.
Imagine it's just some rich guy like Batman. Like, fuck, dude, I saw this. And he's just running around and
In
he's
his
like,
little
fuck, I
costume.
got a cape. Let me jump real fast. People just keep fleeing from him. And he's like, fucking wait. I don't have that much fuel left. I'm trying to warn you. Don't go on the bridge.
Yeah.
He's like, please, someone help me. Because actually, yeah, the first one, the bridge, like I actually saw a photo that was taken, and you can see this dark creature holding on to one of the towers on the side of the bridge, like up at the top. Like I'll find it and send it to Monica.
Okay.
And then she can post it on the pod.
Yeah. Just don't let me forget
Yeah.
because I keep saying I'm gonna post stuff and I keep forgetting.
Yeah, she'll post it on the Tic Tacs
Yeah.
and the other social medias. Yeah, and then the Mothman, and maybe the same one, who knows, that went for the Chernobyl place. That he was like, motherfuckers, this place is gonna blow. I can see it. The reactor's fucking turning green. Let's get the fuck out of here. Let's scoots.
But
Yeah, for real.
do you think it's the same Mothman traveling around? Or do you think it's a band of Mothmen traveling around?
I personally think that it is just one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a band of Mothmen, like via. I mean, how do they communicate before the internet? To like,
That's fair.
they wrote letters and just fucking every 6 months got it delivered, and they're like, hey man, you're right, we should start this. I mean, that would make sense on timeline, I suppose. It took like 3 years in between sightings. That's how long they're like, hey man, shit's going down. And he's like, fuck, I'm in Rochester, New York. And he's like, cool, get to Syracuse.
Like the Winchesters on Supernatural.
Yeah, it's like the worm smashers on Supernatural.
No, I agree. I think it's probably just one. I don't know why, but that seems more,
Plausible.
yeah, plausible. But I feel like that's a lot of work. Like that's got to be more work than Santa Claus because not just are you keeping an eye on the whole world, but like on every little individual. Like
I don't think
bridges.
so.
No.
I mean, unless there's a lot of people keeping their mouths shut, Santa Claus has been reported every year for fucking hundreds and hundreds of years. This guy, I've heard 3 stories, dog.
That's fair.
I mean, maybe it's Paul Revere's ghost.
Maybe. But here You'll be able to hear more stories once Nova tells them.
This time I was not the interrupter.
I had a question.
And I had a tangent.
So this last one, I wasn't able to find too much on it. But in 1999, there were sightings in Moscow, Russia, reported shortly after the Russian apartment bombings occurred.
Okay,
Ooh.
so he is global.
Yes.
Chernobyl, Moscow.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about the.
He's regional.
He gets around.
Yeah, he's just visiting different areas of the world for a few years, and he's like, fuck, gotta warn these guys. God damn it, I'm going to Moscow. Damn it.
Mothman travels more than I do.
Yeah,
Yeah, don't take offense to this, but so does Kevin.
Kevin, he does travel.
He's well traveled,
The boy
and he
gets
has
around.
a backpack now.
Yeah, though.
He does have a backpack now.
Yeah, so sadly I was not able to find too much on that one.
Yeah.
There were only like a couple things that popped up for it, but I figured I'd just throw that one in too. And then since then, there, like I said earlier, one of the most recent ones was reported in 2022. But from 2022 to 1999, there have been sightings scattered, like globally.
Mm-hmm.
But they just haven't been like fully reported on like the other ones.
Like a few hundred, like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Or would you say less?
I'm not too sure, honestly. But I do have a little bit of a personal experience that I will share for the cast. One day when I was,
With the Mothman?
yeah, maybe. I'm not gonna say yes or no because I fully do not know. But one day when I was coming home from town, and like for all of our listeners, my house is like 30 minutes from the closest quote unquote town. And I was driving by like through the fields, and it was not too late at night. It was maybe like 10 o'clock at nighttime, pretty dark, and this huge black winged creature like flew right above my car, like from the right side to the left side.
How big?
Pretty fucking big. Like, it fully reminded me of Jeepers Creepers. Like, I told our aunt about it a couple months ago, and like I told her it reminded me of Jeepers Creepers. Like, I didn't think about it being the Mothman until I started doing this research. Then I was like, hold on a whole hot minute right here.
Let me ask you a question on that. After that, were all the bridges around you and tunnels and caves all still intact? Were there like any significant events that happened after seeing that?
None that I could really think of, but what if he wasn't meaning for me to see him and he was on his way to the next town to warn them about something?
I still think with your sighting, there would have been something around you because I don't think he's been reported without something, as you said earlier, I don't think he's been reported without something significant happening after. So I think you got Jeepers Creepers.
I was gonna ask that.
Watch your peepers.
Has he been seen and nothing bad happened?
Yeah, so those are the, like, a lot of those reportings were the ones that didn't get too much traction because nothing huge happened after them.
Okay.
See, that's where, yeah, I was assuming that something significant happened after every single sighting.
Yeah, because
And
that'll change it a bit. But that is terrifying, and I can't believe you didn't tell me that, but I'm glad you saved it for the pod.
Right, I know, I'm so sorry, it skipped my mind.
It's okay.
I'm still hoping it was Jeepers Creepers. That'd be way more
I'm
cooler.
not. No.
Imagine it was Jeepers Creepers. He hears this podcast and he's like, fuck it, let me do an interview with him. Let me sit down and explain what I was doing in the neighborhood, dog. You're pretty remote. You got a lot of broke down buses out there. I got a lot of houses. What's up?
Let me manifest it now. We would love to do an interview with Jeepers Creepers. I almost said Beetlejuice. We'd love him too.
Beetlejuice would be dope, dude. Shout out to the new movie.
I don't know if Jeepers Creepers would be too vocal, though. He doesn't really talk in the movies.
He just grunts. Grr.
Yeah, he just grunts at us the whole time.
Right, but that's part of the skit. That's what's in his what is it called? Script. Yeah, they write those. They're like, hey, right here, instead of saying, hey, slow the fuck down, you put in there, ah! And Jeepers Creepers. I think he'd talk to us.
I wonder then, since he has been seen and it's been reported and nothing serious happened afterwards, is it just when there are many sightings?
Oh, yeah,
And
group
maybe,
sightings. Like when they're packed together closely, how
yeah.
many sightings?
And maybe it's not necessarily that he's a bad omen or he's warning people. Like maybe that's not his day job. He just sometimes catches a sense of, hey, something's going to happen. And so then he warns people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I think it is too.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I feel like he wouldn't just like take the time out of his day doing his Mothman business just to warn one singular person.
Yeah.
But I feel like he would make his appearance for the larger group, like you said, to be like, hey, like this bridge is about to collapse. This nuclear plant's about to blow. Like,
Yeah, because all of those warnings have been pretty significant.
mm-hmm.
Maybe, like I said earlier, he's just, living somewhere and shit's going down. And that's why they keep seeing him. He's like, shit, gotta pack my stuff, get everything ready. And he's getting the hell out of town. And bridge collapses. And then he's in the next town, living his best life, flying around. People are like, there goes that fucking Mothman again. And he's like, God damn it. They noticed me again. And then boom, it's Chernobyl, like
he's just trying to find somewhere quiet.
Once he's found, that's when bad shit happens. He's just trying to be recluse. He's just trying to, hide out, live his best life, not be sighted. But every time people point him out, something happens.
And then also in Point Pleasant, I don't know if either of you know, but they actually made a statue to honor him. And it's in pretty good detail, and people like to put money in his butt crack as an offering.
Oh, well, that's special.
Please warn us about the next catastrophe. Here and show us that ass.
Here's a quarter in your crack.
I'm here to clap Mothman cheeks, figuratively and literally.
That is the one thing I know about Mothman is he's supposed to be the sexy cryptid. Like he's the one all the women want.
A fucking moth?
Yeah.
It's weird, dog.
That's all I know.
I'm sorry if I'm judging anybody and anybody is offended by me saying that's weird and I don't like it, but my apologies.
Well, my personal taste, I think I will pass on him because he resembles Jeepers Creepers too much. That man terrified me as a child.
Is there a moth woman? Does he have a sister?
Or
wife?
A lady friend?
What's his mom look like?
Moth mom. When did you see the thing that looked like Mothman?
When did I see Mothman?
Yeah.
So I was trying my damn hardest to remember exactly when it was, but I believe it was either late February or early March.
How long after Mothman sightings do the bad things normally happen?
So according to like all of the big stories, it's usually a couple days after.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so that's all of the research I was able to find with like multiple sources that seemed legit.
I have a question kind of about the Mothman. Now, this is a little weird question, but it piqued my interest. I'm curious. Do people ever report seeing a shit ton of moths after or before, like around, like actual moth insects?
I did not find anything about that, but that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, it would be cool. Like the end of what's it called?
The Butterfly Effect?
No, that Tim Burton movie where she turns into butterflies.
Coraline?
Oh, Corpse Bride?
Corpse Bride.
Cut out Coraline. I was way off.
How dare you forget Corpse Bride, Monica? Disappointment.
I know. I can't believe I forgot it.
Thank God you weren't upset with me. I don't like those movies.
I was thinking Dead Bride, but I was like, that sounds not correct.
I mean, close enough, though.
So the next question I have pertaining to this Mothman fella. So you said he doesn't harm people or kill them, but aside from looking moth-like, does he act like a moth? Like, does he eat the fucking clothes off of them and leave them naked? And that's why another reason they freak out, because I'd freak out.
What?
It's a question. That's what moths do.
I mean, maybe, because his statue is naked.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the dude's booty hole naked. He goes around eating people's clothes. He's like, join me. He's really just a nudist. And then when shit gets weird and people don't know how to react, he blows shit up. That's what happens. The guy's getting people naked. He's like, "What's up, guys? Join my colony." Flies around, eating the clothes off people, getting them booty hole naked. Tries to make a nudist colony. It gets weird, blows shit up, and he dips. And he goes to the next town. Like shampoo, wash, rinse, repeat. Lather, rinse, repeat. Whatever the hell it is. I use shampoo. I use that shit. I don't read it. I
Okay.
use it.
No, I have a follow-up question. Not really related, but kind of. So I do know, because of like the smut talk girlies, he's depicted to have a very muscular shape, and it's been said he has abs. Is that in any of the sightings, the reported sightings, or is that just like smut talk girlies making it up?
It might just be the girlies, but at the same time, I'm not too sure because all the sightings, he's either flying up in the sky or it's really dark at night and his body is super dark colored.
A little bit of a question here. It goes off of that too. You said you've seen the statue. That fucker ripped?
Is the statue ripped?
Yeah, like does that guy fucking tone the statue of David looking guy anatomically the same?
Yeah, so the statue, he is pretty muscular and fit, and he has got a yacht.
See, that's why the people be crazy about him in your smut groups. The statue says this is what he looks like. The fucker's running a nudist colony. He's a cult leader.
But did the statue come first, or did the smut talk girlies come first? Because they could have been like, if he looks like a man, might as well make him sexy, and then they made the statue.
Hold on. You mean to tell me that all these people that read these smut books decided to get together, get the money, get a fucking sculptor, make a statue in their image, and put it in, what was it, Point Place, Wisconsin?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that maybe the idea of him being sexy came first, and then the sexy statue.
Some guy or girl, the sculptor, the person who made the statue was like, dude, I've been hearing about this Mothman being fucking fit, dog.
Well,
and when he made the statue was like, or she made the statue, when whoever constructed this thing was like, let's fucking tone this guy up and give him an ass.
Well, because isn't there also a Mothman festival?
That's a question for Nova.
Yes, there is.
So do people cosplay as the goddamn Mothman?
Yeah.
I didn't look too much into the festival, but yeah, some pictures were popping up and like they do have like some people dressed in costume.
We may have to look into it a little bit further and see if they allow us fat fellas to be part of the Mothman thing.
I think anybody could dress up as Mothman, but I have seen TikToks of a lot of people like showing off abs, even the fake abs.
So I gotta paint them on. Okay. Got it.
Maybe the attraction towards Mothman originated because the smut girlies see him as a protector in a way, and then they just let their imaginations run wild after that.
That does bring it back to, in the reported sightings, did they describe him as ripped, or did they just describe him as he looked like a man?
Listen, moth. They look like a moth man.
A moth shaped like a man. But I want to know, were they like, that was some ripped, sexy man flying through the sky and he looked like a moth? Or did they just say it was a man and people went wild with it?
They're like, that fucking moth had abs, dog, and it had a fat ass.
That's what I want to know.
Those red glowing eyes, I don't give it. I am stricken with love. Oh my God. All right. And then they're like, you know what? I'm going to go to the police, have them make this sketch of this fucking moth, and then I'm going to have them put this into a sculpture in Point Place, Wisconsin. Is it Wisconsin? I really want to know.
West Virginia.
Virginia. Okay.
My apologies. They put this fucking thing in West Virginia, Wisconsin. Those aren't
not the same thing.
Those,
no.
I know, but they are not destination places for people that are like, we got to go on vacation. And you know what? This is also there. People got to be very direct about, I'm going to go see this fucking statue in one of those places, Wisconsin or West Virginia. No offense. I don't know much about what either one has. Wisconsin has cheese and the Packers.
I think the statue is where they hold the festival. So I think that's why it's in a random place, because that's where they do it. I don't know anything about it, why it started, any of that. But West Virginia, isn't that where the bridge collapse was in West Virginia?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why.
Well, holy fuck, that'd make a lot more sense. If I would have paid attention earlier, that would make sense on why it's there. You guys could have explained that 20 minutes ago and been like, hey, dog. So as we explained earlier, the bridge collapsed, and this was one of the most notorious sightings of this fucking thing. And they were like, hey, man, put the sexy beast out there, make everybody come see him in my image. He had that, make the ass fatter. That's not enough ass. Okay, tone his abs up. Okay, little less flab. You got it right there. They did that shit, and that attracts smut groups. I get it. Okay. I'm sure that there's been plenty of people that have driven by other statues and they're like, I'm a fucking right about that. So I get it. Okay. I think the statue came before the smut.
Maybe.
This doesn't make anybody anxious at bedtime. It makes you very worried.
Worried, horny, I don't know. I don't know what this podcast is anymore.
Well, now it's definitely rated R. Rated MA for mature.
It's okay. Our mother is our only listener, so it's fine.
Their mother and my mother-in-law. Let's get this straight. It's not all three of ours.
Siblings. No. I mean, me and Nova are siblings. I don't need to explain this.
Yeah, you already know, Martha. Like, it's not that hard. Oh, man.
So this year, the Mothman Festival is September 21st and 22nd. We should go.
I'm not going.
I would love to go.
I would despise that.
There's a Mothman app.
There's a whole goddamn app dedicated to this guy?
That's what it says.
Hold on, give me a second. Is it dedicated to the event or to the person? Or the man?
I don't know. It just says Mothman app, but it's on the festival website. But I will say the pictures of him on the website, I'm not yucking anybody's yum, but that is not a yum for me. It's like a fly head with like Jeepers Creepers bat wings and then a naked man body. But for the events, there's guest speakers. It says paranormal pros from all over the world who present an array of topics on everything from Mothman, Bigfoot, UFOs, and the paranormal. So that's cool. It's not just Mothman. It's like a cryptid festival. I like that.
At Mothman Con?
At Mothman Con.
Okay.
Then it says there are TNT area bus tours. It says this is a private bus tour that will lead you into the heart of the infamous TNT area where the sightings of Mothman once took place. You'll even get to visit the elusive ammunitions bunkers, or igloos as the locals call them. There's a Mothman museum. Then you can see the statue. The statue is ribbed, but he's definitely shaped weird.
So I gotta say, that makes sense for them to have like a statue, a museum, that kind of stuff. But it's a little peculiar to have a designated area where there was a sighting.
I don't know. I'm going on record. I'm here for it. I like it. I think it's like Roswell. I would love to go there, and it was a one-time event.
Roswell had a lot more to it than two people seeing something in the sky.
It was way more than two people.
It was a handful of people for that one. I'm just saying Roswell was well investigated and documented by multiple sources and people, not just a group of people that didn't have... There's pictures.
There's pictures of Mothman on the bridge.
Okay. I'm not saying I don't believe. I'm just saying there's no clear defined proof.
Yeah, but there's no clear defined proof of a lot of stuff. But I think it's amazing that we live in a time where we can explore our beliefs in this stuff and explore the weird side and kind of step outside of our boring and stressful lives and experience all the weirdness.
Amen.
I like
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. I'm here for that. I just don't understand Mothman. I might be a little bitter because I'm not fit and I'm not allowed
He's
at this
like, I
festival.
can't wear the costume.
I'm not allowed at the festival, dude. I'm being excluded and that's not cool.
You're allowed
I'm
at the
sad.
festival. Stop.
I'm hurt. No, I'd definitely go. I think it'd be cool.
Another thing, too, that I could not for the life of me find was how Mothman was born. Like, where he came from.
Where the legend started.
That's fair, because most cryptids, there's like a legend to where it started, at least where it originated.
They get an origin story, yeah.
Yeah.
But I did find a couple interesting things that I forgot to jot down. In certain, like, what was it? Not necessarily religions, but like how there's different kinds of stories for like different areas of the world and like different cryptids, you know? There are similar things to Mothman in other parts of the world that aren't necessarily called Mothman. This dates back to like centuries.
Oh.
But yeah, it was just wild. I was like, that's fucking crazy.
Oh, damn.
That is crazy. So then if it dates back centuries, maybe it's not a lab creation.
There is a documentary by this guy, Seth Breedlove, where he explores ancient historical roots of the Mothman. He was having a conversation with someone about the Mothman, And that person pointed out some similarities between Mothman and other winged creatures throughout mythology. So, like, one of the connections was, like, between Mothman and banshees from Scottish and Irish folklore, since he has the glowing red eyes, he lets out the shrieks, and, like, lets people know about disasters.
But I don't know a lot about a lot, but aren't banshees bad?
Both banshees can be good, banshees can be bad.
And then, here's another part too. In Hindu mythology, there's the Garuda, which is a winged creature that would precede or portend disaster. And like there are a few other ones like down in the whole article. I don't know why I didn't jot that part down.
I'm sticking with it's Paul Revere. It's Paul fucking Revere.
Okay, I have a question for Nova. On the record, right now, no time to think for your answer. Would you bang Mothman?
Yes.
Is that your answer? Or?
I think that was her answer.
No, I'm sorry, you broke up and I just heard Nova.
No, she was definitely saying yes, she would.
I said, would you bang Mothman?
You know?
And that laugh was, would I? You remember the night I saw him, hun? Where do you think I really saw him?
Maybe that's why he was showing himself to you. He was like, hey, girl.
When I asked if he eats people's clothes, she's like, no, hun, that's not all he ate.
Oh my god.
Do you think he would have super sharp teeth or no?
It didn't look like he had a mouth in that picture, so I don't know.
I'm partially deaf. Monica, you can hear really well. Do moths fucking hum?
Yeah, probably. But I think the humming comes from their wings, not. I don't know. This is a question for like a bug person.
Also, this fucking Mothman, its wings did not look anything like a moth's wings, so that humming may just stop and you may just be creeped out.
Maybe. I don't know.
What kind of sounds does it make? Because nobody's ever heard it talk. Nobody's heard the noises. Nova, I'm asking you since you banged this thing.
I think one deal breaker with Mothman would be or not necessarily a deal breaker, but you just know he would have to have the lights on every time.
Told you she's in.
Oh. Or would they have to be off so that you can hold his attention?
I have yet to see this fucking. That's fair. That's a good question. Moths are drawn to light. I had a question.
Yeah.
It subsided. I don't remember it. I don't, and it was a serious question too. It wasn't even like you caught me off guard with that question because I really had a fucking serious question.
Dang, I'd like to end on a serious question.
And it would have been too. It was a good one, but I don't remember what I was saying because that was such a good fucking question. That was hard hitting. That was a question that really needed fucking answered. If anybody's banged Mothman, or if anybody knows of anybody who has Nova, if there's been any activity with Mothman where you've heard his voice as well, because I want to know what this thing sounds like or this being, please write us, send us an email, leave a comment, something. Tell us about this guy. So no, to answer your question, I do not remember mine.
I don't know where to go. This thing has left the rails.
This is what happens during a Nova episode.
Yeah, speaking of rails, the Mothman railed your sister. I'm sorry, Nova. That's terrible. I need to stop. I am so apologetic.
You're good.
You know what? Honestly, I'm happy for you.
Thanks. He's a little older, but it's fine. We make it work.
Just a few centuries.
Yeah. What's a few centuries between lovers?
It's starting to sound like fucking Twilight, but with moths.
I was just about to say, look at Twilight.
That one had vampires that shimmer. This one had moths with muscles.
One shimmers, the other one likes the shimmer.
Well, yeah.
No, this is serious though. Have you guys seen all of the TikToks going around right now about the vampires that people have been meeting?
No.
I have not.
Yeah, you should look them up. I can't remember any of the creators right now. But one woman was talking about her experience with vampires in an Uber. She was an Uber driver, or maybe it was a man. I don't remember. And so a bunch of people have been stitching it with their own personal, like, I think I met a vampire stories, and it's like oh, I get goosebumps like crazy.
Ooh, I smell another episode.
Luck be it for you, you
Mhm.
will never have the chance to meet a vampire because of yours truly. I eat and cook and prepare with too much garlic. That fucker's never coming near us. I sweat and sometimes it smells like an Italian kitchen with all the fucking garlic. So I think we're pretty well protected from the vampiras.
You are probably not wrong. Yeah, there's been some crazy stories. One woman, she had a job interview with him, and for some reason she just had a not good gut feeling, and neither did her mother. And he pestered her for like years, following her to her different jobs and being like, "Do you want to come work for me now?" And eventually she met someone that was like, he's a vampire, right? And she was like, "I didn't laugh, she didn't laugh. She knew I knew she knew. That guy was a vampire." It's so scary. I'm doing an awful job explaining it, so you should look it up, but they're terrifying.
I might have to go on a diet from garlic just so I can experience this because I want to see if this shit's real.
I don't want to experience it, but I like hearing other people's stories.
I do. I want to see this shit for real. Like some of the things that we talk about, some of the things that I hear, we see, I want to see the shit in real life. Like, I ain't scared. I want to know.
I'm scared. One thing I have always wanted to see myself though is Bigfoot. Not up close, but like driving through the woods off in the distance. I would love to see Bigfoot.
Makes sense. When we got together, you said I had big feet and you fucking pushed them away. You didn't want to see them bitches up close. I get it.
You're a dork.
They nasty, girl.
What about you, Nova? What would you love to see?
Oh boy, this is a tough one. I have seen a fairy before, and I will die on that hill.
I remember. Yeah, no, I'm convinced Nova has seen a fairy.
I myself have not. I've seen them on the intranet.
I absolutely have. I really don't know which one I'd really like to see, though. There's so many.
Yeah. Another one I'd love is mermaids.
No, I heard them bitches is mean.
They are mean.
See, but there's supposed to be sirens, which are mean, and then mermaids, which I don't know, it's mixed, but I like to believe mermaids are nice. But our grandfather is convinced, Poppy, that mermaids are real. And I don't remember what it was, but he saw something in Mexico that he came home a few years ago and was like, mermaids are real. Like, that shit's real.
He even had the newspaper from that town he was in, too.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, is it was a newspaper. Somebody got pictures of one that washed up.
I'm not saying I don't believe in mermaids. I'm just saying I believe, like, if they are to be in existence, they're all fucking mean. I don't think there's a mermaid and a siren. I think they're the same thing. I think that there's people who've gotten fortunate and they seem like sweet things and they're like, yeah, nothing happened, man. She was super nice. They were super cool with me, because they didn't get close enough to see how mean and how aggressive they are. Or, that's just a Disney based tale of mermaids. I don't think they're nice, man.
I like to think that at least some of them would be nice. But I'm a skeptic believer, I think is the phrase, or a skeptical believer. I take everything with a grain of salt, but I 100% believe that every cryptid, every creature, there are tales about them for a reason. And I would like to see a few of them.
Me too.
I'm just more of the skeptic type. Until I see them, I'm a little bit more skeptical. I mean, I can hear a lot of stories and I can believe a lot of people that they saw this or they experienced this, but it's not real to me until I experience it.
But speaking of all of these other cryptids, if you would like to hear more about all of those, keep tuning in because I'm sure we will cover all of them at some point. Thank you, Nova, for sharing all of that Mothman information with us.
Absolutely.
And remember, the world might seem like a scary place with Mothmen flying around, but we're probably fine. If you or somebody you know has a supernatural story that you would like to share with us and have us read on the pod, email it to anxiousatbedtimepodcast@gmail.com. You can follow our TikTok or our Instagram, Anxious at Bedtime Podcast, and
Please like, subscribe,
review
follow,
whatever it is you can do on whatever
comment.
You're listening to.
Yeah. Show us some love.
We hope that you will join us next week. Bye.
Bye.
Sleep tight.
Don't be too anxious.